Hi there. I thought I'd just make a quick video on a Revox A77 Mark III Dolby version. Now, I don't generally use noise reduction of any sort. I've got plenty of decks with Dolby. I've got DBX, but the sort of speeds they operate on, you know, anything over 3 3/4, 7.5. There's so little hiss there, really. You don't really need it. We're not talking cassette speeds and cassette tape widths where there's quite a lot of hiss, and Dolby is good. On these sort of things, you don't really need it. But having said that, this has got Dolby. As you can see, there's the back of it. It's running at the moment. And these here are the Dolby boards. You have the Dolby reproduction board here for playback, and the Dolby record board at the back for when you're recording. And they're incredibly difficult to set up, mainly because there doesn't seem to exist a service manual in English. The only service manual I could find was in German, and I can't speak German. I speak fluent Portuguese, but German I don't have a clue on, and I couldn't really work it out. So I've had to adjust these by ear, not literally with my ear, but you know, adjusting the pots very gently from side to side. And I actually restored the balance because when I was flicking the Dolby switch in, the balance was out, the stereo balance was out, and I've managed to restore the balance. And there is a difference when you flick it in and when you don't, although it's not a massive difference. So I don't really know whether it can be set up better to produce a bigger difference. But anyway, the whole thing's been serviced anyway. And yeah, it sounds really good. So it's a good unit in its own right. I think the Dolby is working okay and to satisfaction. So you know, I'm not going to go any further with that because it's a nightmare really. Because I mean, look, here we go. There's a Mark III. That one won't even record, and I've got no idea what that is. I've spent quite some time on it. One here, Mark IV, was working perfectly. Then all of a sudden it went nuts, and the motors started going round on their own. I pressed stop, they were still going round. So I think probably one of the power supply caps has gone. They're all Fracco caps in there, and apparently they're all on their last legs. And the back of this one there, that is a Mark 1 that I had on eBay, but I wasn't happy with it. When I tested the speed, 3.75 wouldn't work, 7.5 worked, 3.75 didn't work. So I took it straight off eBay because obviously I don't sell anything that is not 100% and not fully serviced. This is fully serviced, it sounds great, but it only works at 7.5. It doesn't work at 3.75. I spent quite a long time on that as well, and I can't. What the problem is with these, they've got an automatic speed stabilizer on there. So if you're running at 3.75 at voltage of 3.75, there's two voltages, one at 3.75 which is 21 volts, and then I think you've got 24 volts which denotes 7.5, two different voltages. But the circuit in this is quite clever, and no matter what the voltage is, it compensates for that. So what happens when I put this one in 3.75, it starts off quite slow but then speeds up to 7.5 because it's not seeing, I don't know, there's something wrong there somewhere. And these are very, very difficult to service around that. I mean, this is a board here which sorts out the speed control, and how you get that out is pretty difficult to get out, put it that way. This is a power supply board here. I've just adjusted this power supply board for this particular unit, the A77 Mark III Dolby. It's slightly out, but I've adjusted it. It's currently playing over the headphones this, because I'm annoying people in the house quite a lot really, so I'll put it on the headphones now, and also enables me to listen to the Dolby working, the hiss being reduced when you flick the switch in. I mean, the Dolby circuit's certainly working, but I can't really guarantee it's optimized to work as best as it can do, because I just cannot understand German. But I think it's pretty much working as it should. It shouldn't be a brutal blunt force reduction like it is on some cassette players. This is making a slight difference, and I believe that's the way it should be, because noise reduction systems can do a lot to the dynamics of the sound. They're filters at the end of the day, and they're going to filter off a lot of the high frequencies. So anyway, this has had a fair amount done to it. It's had a full service, it's had all the bulbs replaced, it's had the counter belt replaced. In fact, it's a new counter, I believe, that I put in that. I had to buy a new counter for this one. I find that a few counters go on these. Had all the switches and pots cleaned, or the tape path was cleaned, and it's been totally adjusted. All these boards have been adjusted in. You have the various record and playback boards at the bottom there. They've all been adjusted in. So yeah, this is ready to go, and I'm going to sell this for a really good price, because these have just gone up ridiculously. I don't know why they sell so much. I mean, some people want £1,200 for these unserviced, or for parts not working they want like £700-800 for them, and that seems a bit much really. I mean, for that sort of money, you can get a really good ferrograph for a start, and you can get some professional machines cheaper than that. So I'm not quite sure why they go for so much. They are really well made, don't get me wrong, they're brilliantly made. I mean, this whole chassis is aluminium, cast aluminium. The boards are separate. The other great thing about this is if you get a problem with one of these boards, they're generally about £25 each. So not only can you swap, say if you've got a problem with the left output on playback, not only can you swap left and right around without any problem, you can also get probably a board like that for £20, £25. All of the boards in here are relatively cheap. Obviously things like this Dolby board would be hard to get, because Dolby units were not that, I mean, it was an expensive option as I understand it at the time. But yeah, I've got a suitcase model as well. In fact, this is a suitcase model here that I need to sort out. But the suitcase model, I mean, that's got a jolly decent pair of amplifiers in there actually. There's no such thing as a suitcase model with Dolby, because the boards for the suitcase model come out like this. So obviously there's no room for the Dolby boards, so you can either have one or the other. You can't have them both. I don't know which would be better for me. As I say, I would never use Dolby DBX or anything. I mean, I've got other machines. I've got a Tascam there, which is I think it's DBX. I've got another Tascam, a TSR8, which is a fantastic unit. That's DBX, but I mean, all of these noise reduction systems, they do filter out certain frequencies, and for example where the hiss is, and that tends to kill the sound stage. If you know about sound stage like headroom, you obviously want that, because it feels like you're actually there with a, you know, you're listening to a massive sound stage. If all of a sudden you click Dolby in, or any noise reduction in, it will take not only the hiss out, but it will take your sound stage out, which is in your high frequencies. So basically it can be seen as the dynamics of the sound really, and you don't obviously want to take any dynamics out. I mean, if you generally hate hiss so much, then perhaps tape isn't your thing really. Perhaps it's better really to go digital rather than tape, because I think, you know, tape, you always will get hiss. But anyway, it's horses for courses. You know, my views are, I can understand, and not everyone's views. But I've got a lot of experience in sound and this sort of thing, so I know about these sort of noise reduction systems. The products I used to work at, Roland, some of them incorporated VCAs with DBX to reduce noise. I mean, I've worked with noise gates and limiters and things like that, and compressors which work with noise and reducing noise. So I've got quite a fair bit of sort of experience in that field. But obviously anything that's limiting the noise is also limiting headroom and dynamics really. So it's horses for courses, you know. But there we go. I hope this has been sort of informative. This particular Revox will be listed on eBay when I get another pound listing, which could be probably by the weekend maybe. I never know when eBay is going to list something at £1, but that's the only way I can keep my prices down in order to sell these things, because obviously with the pandemic going on at the moment, it's difficult to know how long I'm going to continue selling these for, and I don't know, it's a bit dodgy at the moment on eBay, I think. I get flurries where I sell quite a lot of these, and then flurries where nothing at all. It might be to do with time of the month when people get paid, I don't know. But there's a lot of people being obviously being made redundant now because of this furlong thing. So perhaps people really would like one of these, but they don't want to risk buying at the moment. So I don't know, it's just a strange time really. But I don't think I'm going to buy any more of these. I've got yeah, so I've got quite a few here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 here. What else? Yeah, I've got a Revox, sorry, a Ferrograph coming, and there's an Akai in that box over there. It's an Akai 4000D, and in the room behind me, I've got an Akai GX77, and that's a really nice unit actually, really good. So, and that's ready to go. So there we go. So if you want a GX77, I can recommend them. They're great. They're auto reverse. They've got 6 heads. We're not talking 3 heads, we're talking 6 heads because of the auto reverse. They've got a very unique sort of tape loading system. It's quite fascinating decks actually, and they really go for a lot of money, but I'm probably going to be selling mine relatively cheap, so that's a good one to look out for. But thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions, you can contact me, delatronics.com, and the email and everything's on there. So, and if you want to buy this one or any of the other products I'm showing, just give us a bell and we can do it outside of eBay if you want. Okay, thanks for watching.